Hi, it's Terry Gaines. I'm going to show you a really cute card made with the Zany Zebra stamp set, which is new in the 2020-2021 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. You can find it on page 104 of that catalog. It's got three cute zebras, some sentiments. It's a great stamp set to make birthday cards or celebration cards for people of all ages. The project I'm going to share today is made with Melon Mambo cardstock. You need a 4 by 5¼ inch piece of colored cardstock. So I'm using Melon Mambo, but you can change this color up to be the favorite color of who you're going to give this card to. There are 3 pieces of Whisper White cardstock needed for the card. A 4¼ by 5½, which will be the card base. This will be the next layer. Then there is a piece of Whisper White that is 3⅛ by 8½ scored at 4¼ and I use the Simply Scoring tool for that. And then the top layer that's going to be embellished is a piece of Whisper White that is 2½ by 3�5. So I am going to prep all of the pieces for this card before I assemble it. So the first prep I'm going to do is on the colored cardstock. I'm going to use 2 different dies to cut this piece of cardstock out. I'm going to use a die set that is called Stitch So Sweetly, and I'm going to use the largest scalped stitched die on that. And then I'm going to also take the smallest one. So what I'm going to do is place this die right in the center of this cardstock, and then place this one in the center of this, and then run this through my die cutting machine. And when I do that, I will then have 3 pieces of Melon Mambo. So now I've turned that one piece into 3 different pieces for embellishing this card. Great way to maximize your cardstock. Then the next thing I'm going to do is take the frame part and texturize this. You could stamp it, you could do multiple different things, or just leave it as it is. But I have actually have fallen in love with several of the new textured folders in the new catalog. This one is called Old World Map, I think, or Old World. And it is a 3D folder. So this frame I'm going to place inside this folder, run it through my machine, and then I will get a embossed frame that looks like this. It's just got this great depth to it, and I think it works perfect for this card design. So this is the prep work on this portion of the card. And the prep work on this portion of the card is to stamp the inside. I have taken one of the zebras and then added the sentiment that is, it's time to celebrate. I always get nervous with my videos, and I know I'm talking way too fast, so I'm going to slow down a little bit here. And I have already put one of the zebras on this clear block along with a sentiment for the inside. Anytime you're stamping, just go tap, tap, tap. You want the ink just on the surface. When you push in, you get it in the crevice, and your best results are going to be just getting the ink on the surface, and then just put even pressure down, and then you've got your image stamped like so. So the outside portion of this card is going to be this I've got some ink on my fingers. That always seems to be the case. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this one over, and we'll use this side. That's the beauty of the cardstock. You have 2 sides to stamp on. So I've chosen this little zebra for the front of the card, and this image is going to be more towards the top of this piece of cardstock. So now we've got that portion stamped. I also want to stamp a outside sentiment. And I've chosen to use some dies to do that. And I'm going to use a die set that's called Tasteful Labels. It's new to the new annual catalog. And what I love about this die set is there's lots of different shapes here. When I cut these out, I actually save this portion of it, because what I can do is take this and then just take my stamp set. Now keep in mind, some of these images on the cover might be reduced in size. This happens to be full size. but the images in the catalog, the print is full size unless otherwise indicated. But I can take this and I can lay it over my sentiments and say, oh gosh, I could use any of those with this die cut. I'm going to show you how I'm stamping, how I'm going to cut this out and stamp on the image with the Stamparatus. So I'm going to set this stuff aside. I'm going to take one sheet of the small grid paper. I'm going to use this. I'm going to bring the Stamparatus into the camera view. And then I love the Stamparatus. You get a foam insert. This is for photopolymer. This stamp set happens to be cling, so we don't need that. I like placing a sheet of cardstock or small grid paper down. And then in the back you have two magnets. And I like putting painter's tape on my magnets to create a handle. Make sure the grid paper's in the corner. And then what you're going to do is cut out one of those banners out of a piece of cardstock that you have enough surface to put two magnets down. So what I'm going to do is grab the stamp out of the case. I'm going to place it in this vicinity. And it doesn't matter if it's straight or if it's tilted, that's okay. I'm going to bring the plate down and pick up the stamp. Then I'm going to take my ink, tap it on, just tap, tap, tap onto the surface, bring the image down, stamp on my grid paper, take this template, and then line it up and center it how I would like it to be centered. Place my magnets down to hold it in place. Take a banner that's cut out with no sentiment on it. Make sure it is in there nice and there's flush like a puzzle piece. Tap, tap, tap the ink back on. Bring this down. Apply pressure, and now I have that stamped right where I would like it to be. So I find the Stamparatus is an amazing tool, and it helps me get my stamped images to be straight. So I'm going to quick close the ink pad. We're done stamping. Now we are ready to assemble. So we have these three pieces. We have the postcard. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start out by adhering the frame to the postcard. We've got about a 1/4 inch spacing here. And the adhesive I'm going to use is the new stamping adhesive. It's a Stamp and Seal, and it is new, and I'm learning how to use it yet. So hopefully it all goes well. I have found that the light pressure works best, and I also find I like to put too much pressure down, so a real light pressure works best. And then I'm going to adhere this down. So this is the regular. There's also a Seal Plus that is a stronger adhesive. Then I'm going to take this. This is the inside, so I want to make sure I don't accidentally assemble this upside down. I'm going to adhere this to here and this to here. I like to start with the top piece, adhere it to the next piece, and so forth. So that's what I'm going to do. I find it's best to put adhesive on the smallest piece, starting from the top down. And as I mentioned, I need to practice a little bit, and sometimes when I press too hard, it'll stop dispensing from the dispenser, so I just need to use my finger on the roller to get it started again. There we go. Put that down like such. Then I'm going to put more adhesive down, and there we go. And then take this piece and just double check that you have it in the right orientation, and this is in the right orientation. I'm looking at opposite corners, looking at all 4 sides for equal spacing. Place this down. Then I'm going to take my adhesive, apply this, whoops, and then this is going to cover up this opening. So this is just going to be centered right in here, cover up that opening. And I don't know if the camera shows you, but this 3D texture just is really perfect for this. I think it works out really well. So we have the little banner, and then the last 2 pieces are this. So what I'm going to do is apply adhesive to the banner, to the banner, place this across this little scalped rectangle, and then put adhesive on this. and place this in this area right here. And now this is a fun card for anybody's birthday. As I mentioned earlier, you can change the colors and just change the look of the stamp, the card, I mean. And this one I actually just cut square instead of using the scalped rectangles. So you can just change up the colors and make a real fun card for someone of any age. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you found me via YouTube, look in the comments section for a direct link to my blog post, where you'll find the supply list, measurements, and instructions for this project. There will be a PDF tutorial you can download. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed creating this project with me. Stay safe and stay healthy.